Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. What's up, Joe Boo? And Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods here on this finally freaking Friday. Man, this is great. This is so nice. Think about where we were a year ago. A year ago, we had NFL teams, beginning training camp, of course, with no preseason games. They had a shortened preseason, should I say training camp, where they had 10 days of conditionings and then 14 padded practices. Then we got the season. That was it. Period. End of story. This year, of course, we've already had the Dallas Cowboys having 2 preseason games. We've already had the Eagles having 2 preseason games. And tonight at 8 o'clock, we'll have the Washington football team playing what is supposedly is the dress rehearsal. I don't know how teams are truly looking at the situation because this is new. We only have 3 preseason games for everybody except for the Hall of Fame. We've got an extra week of time between the last preseason game and the season opener. You may look at some teams saying, you know what, we're going to wait and play, our starters the last weekend, or we might not play them at all. After not having preseason games last year, it didn't seem to affect teams like Green Bay or Tampa Bay and things like that. They played really, really well without preseason. And for the Eagles last night, I'm going to rag on the Eagles fans for a minute here because I think about our Cowboys losing their preseason games and how the Eagles and the Giants and the Washington fans descended on us and told us how bad the Cowboys are, how their team stinks so much. And I said, dudes, it's preseason. I said, we're not playing all of our starters. And even with that, we had, how many kicks did our kicker miss? He missed 3 against the Steelers. We were in there in field goal range and should have gotten 3 points in each of those. Okay. But again, it was literally 2 weeks after preseason started and we're playing a game against the Steelers, but that's okay. And then last weekend we played the Cardinals. And if it weren't for an offsides, we win that game. And again, we're not playing Amari Cooper. We're not playing our first string offensive line. We're not playing our good pass rushers. And I said, we're not playing starters. But even with that, you're still playing players that are of likability. They're not necessarily playing all of their starters as well. Enter last night with Jalen Hurts getting, I don't know what they want to call this, but I don't know if this is game day stomach flu or what, but he was out there warming up, and then next thing you know, he goes to the hospital and gets examined, and he's told to take the next couple of days off. They say it's not COVID, but if you're an Eagle fan, your stomach probably turned last night too. There's no way in the world that your stomach did not turn last night watching what I know Philly 500 say, well, they play the starting receivers and linebackers, but they didn't play the starting line. Okay, all right. However you want to sugarcoat it, there was nothing last night that you could hang your hat on and say that was a good thing. Your quarterback got sick at game time and didn't play. Your backup, who was a former Super Bowl winning quarterback, looked terrible. Your backup to your backup, Nick Mullins, yeah. I guess Devontae Smith playing might be the highlight on that, but be that as it may. Tonight we'll watch the Washington football team. We'll see if Washington looks and takes a different approach at this game and plays more players. I'm interested to see how the Washington defense plays, as well as Ryan Fitzpatrick. And so on. And then, of course, tomorrow night we have the Cowboys. And then on Sunday, of course, we have the Giants. And we're going to be live streaming on each of these games because these games are important because we face these teams twice, minimum. Could face them in the playoffs, possibly. You could face them up to 3 times. And we want to know as much as we can about those teams. So here we are. And I want you to, I say things, but they don't necessarily seem to stink in. Everybody, from the talking heads out there, they always seem to believe that what a team did last year is relevant to this year. That a team is going to go ahead and that was good last year is automatically going to be good this year. Not looking at the numbers, knowing that half the teams that make the playoffs the previous year won't the next year. Somehow they continue to forget that. If you look at the preseason polls, they'll have the same cast of characters that were playoff teams and have them ranked in the top 10. It's just the way it is. And not saying there's going to be sleeper teams out there that will rise and teams that were good that will fall. Think about the Houston Texans, the team we play tomorrow night. The end of the end of 2019, they were flying high. Deshaun Watson got a new contract. Their coach was feeling good and thinking that he's Bill Belichick and could do no wrong. They had won their franchise first playoff victory. And everybody said, man, the Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson, that team, J.J. Watt, they going to be great. They kept their quarterback all season last year, unlike the Cowboys, and they were 4-12. They literally have blown up the whole situation. They went from playoff winner to bottom dweller in one season. And that's not the exception. That's the norm. And so when I hear people talk about the Dallas Cowboys defense, they don't think that it's possible for a team to change the narrative. Now, Coach Mike McCarthy, this is a quote from him. To get to the championship game, you've got to have a great defense. I had one top 5 defense in 13 years, and we won a Super Bowl. I've never seen one side of the ball flipped the way we flipped this defense in one offseason. So let's take a look real quick, because I want to go through this exercise, because this is where, your Cowboys, they can't stop the run. Their linebackers can't do this. Your corners can't cover. Okay. That's true about last year. But so many dynamics have changed that you have to turn the page on that defense. This defense is nothing like that defense last year, from the coach on down. If you think that Dan Quinn is the same as I don't even want to say the other guy's name. That was a complete disaster. If you think that that defensive coordinator is the same, sorry. I think they came through with a defense that fit some of the players that were here. And they went out and got other players that fit the mold. Athletic, young, and lots of length. Let's take a look. I just want you to understand here. Let's take a look here. Hopefully you can see the names and everything on here. When we faced the Rams last year, these were the guys that played in the game. Aldon Smith, Jalen Smith, Darian Thompson, Xavier Woods, Anthony Brown, Joe Thomas, Tristan Hill, Trayvon Diggs, first game as starting as a rookie, Emerson Griffin, Dontari Poe, Leighton Vander Esch, Darryl Worley, Dorrance Armstrong, Tyrone Crawford, C.J. Godwin, DeMarcus Lawrence, and wait a minute, it's there, and Antoine Woods. That was everybody who played in our first game last year. Awuzie, gone. Aldon Smith, gone. Jalen Smith is going to be playing special teams tonight. Jalen Smith is, at the moment, not looking like he's going to be a star. He may start first couple of plays, but Jalen Smith is not going to be the every down linebacker that he was last year. Darian Thompson's still there. Xavier needed to go to the woodshed and get his butt beat because he was getting beat by everybody else, is gone. Anthony Brown is still there, was penciled in as a starter, but I think his stock has dropped. I would not be surprised if Anthony Brown does not make this team. From the standpoint of saying we can keep Anthony Brown or we can play these younger guys and get them up to speed and save $2.5 million. I think Anthony Brown will be gone. Joe Thomas, gone. Tristan Hill, well, He's not gone, but he's definitely been missing in action. He has not come off of the PUP list yet. And at the moment, I'm not sure that he makes the team. Diggs, of course, now second year, so he's getting, he's coming back. Emerson Griffin, gone. Dontari Poe, gone. Leighton Vander Esch, still there, of course. Darrell Worley, gone. Dorrance Armstrong, still there. Tyrone Crawford, gone. C.J. Godwin, still there. DeMarcus Lawrence there. Antoine Woods, gone. So if I'm right, I think we got DeMarcus Lawrence, C.J. Godwin, Dorrance Armstrong, Leighton Vander Esch, Diggs, Tristan Hill, Anthony Brown, and Jalen Smith. 8 guys of the players that played last year opening game. And of those 8 guys, you could look at it and say Tristan Hill and Anthony Brown may not play. So that gets you down to, may not make the roster. So that gets you down to 6. And then you look at somebody like Jalen Smith, who probably won't be a starter. So that gets you down to 5. So you only have 5 possible start. Dorrance Armstrong probably is not going to be a starter either. So when you look at this and you say guys from last year's defense that will start, we'll say DeMarcus Lawrence, Leighton Vander Esch, Diggs, maybe Jalen Smith or Anthony Brown. So from a defense that puts out 11 players, you'll have a max of only 4 guys that'll be starters from last year's defense. That was atrocious. You cannot say with Dan Quinn as the coach and 4 guys coming back from last year's defense that what they did last year has any bearing whatsoever on this year's team. You just can't. Most of these guys were here. I mean, you think about when you replace Tyrone Crawford, who, has been a great player for the Cowboys. Don't get it twisted. Tyrone Crawford has been, a great leader on the team. But coming back from double hip surgery, Tyrone Crawford was a shell of himself. You replace him with a Keith Urban or an OC, that's an improvement. You take Dontari Poe, who was on the PUP list last year, and you replace him with a Brent Irving or a Quentin Bohannon. That's an upgrade. You take Aldon Smith, who got 3 sacks his first game and then kind of petered out. You replace him with Randy Gregory or Dorrance Armstrong. You got an upgrade there. You take Jalen Smith, and you end up looking at Keanu O'Neal, and you end up looking at Micah Parsons, and you look and say, that's an upgrade. You can go across the board and say, Trayvon Diggs, not a rookie, played really well going down the stretch. That's an upgrade. Everywhere across the line, you can look at safety from Xavier Woods to anybody is an upgrade. But you got Malik Hooker or Dontre Kazee. That's an upgrade. And you have a defense now with a defensive coordinator who, unlike last year where they had 10, workout days and 14 practices, has had a full off season with full participations to implement said defense, and has guys that are younger, healthier, that are hungry because they're on 1-year contracts. So to say that the Dallas Cowboys defense will be the way it was, it's possible. I'm not going to say that it's not. But if you are trying to infer and say what happened last year to this year, you got to turn the page. This is totally new, totally different. And this team, I think this defense is ready to make a step. And Mike McCarthy is 100% right. As much as everybody wants to say, Dak can't lead the team to a Super Bowl. Guess what? If you got the 28th rated defense, there's nobody that's going to lead them to a Super Bowl. And that includes Pat Mahomes. As much as we want to lay everything on one guy, it doesn't work that way in football. You got to have good offense, good defense, and good special teams. Having one group outstanding and the rest ass, it's not a formula for success if you're talking about Super Bowls. It's great if you're talking about fantasy football, not so much in winning championships. So this year, let's wait and see what this defense does under new management with new players. It's not the same old Dallas Cowboys defense that we had last year with Mike Nolan. It's a new game in town. And this, my friends, you have to look at with all the upgrades across the board. You can almost look, I don't know where you can look at and say, we got worse on defense. I don't see where we lost anything that is going to be a negative on this defense. So we'll have to wait and see. But tonight, 8 o'clock, actually 7:45, we'll start our live stream and we'll roll into our regular live stream, with the Washington game on as well. So that way we can see what they're doing. We can talk about the Cowboys and come tomorrow. Also tonight, we'll have our fantasy football run for draft position. We have our draft tomorrow. Tomorrow at 3:30, and then we'll roll into the Cowboys game, of course, tomorrow evening. So with that being said, I'm going to let you guys get up out of here, but you know the deal. Folks here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is